Welcome back, everyone. Excited to continue our deep dive into Rumi's insights with episode 31.
31 down, 9 more to go in our exploration of Rumi.
We're working with these incredible conversations between Dr. Dinani and Dr. Larijani, those brilliant Iranian philosophers.
Such a rich source of wisdom.
A quick heads up, though, before we jump in.
Sure.
Since these are translated conversations, some nuances might get lost in translation. You know how it is.
Of course, translation is always a delicate process.
So we apologize in advance for any discrepancies.
Absolutely.
With that out of the way, let's dive into today's theme, which is, in a way, the golden thread woven through so much of Rumi's work, seeing the unseen.
A fascinating topic, to be sure. One that challenges our perception and invites us to look deeper.
And we're kicking things off with a statement from Dr. Dinani that really grabbed my attention. He said, "Sometimes you can't see something because it is too visible."
It's paradoxical, isn't it? Makes you wonder what we're missing right in front of us.
It really does. It's almost like we're blinded by the obvious. So how does this idea of something being too visible play out in our everyday experience?
Well, think about how we perceive everyday objects. In one conversation, Dr. Dinani asks this thought-provoking question. Do we perceive the chair, the table, or the existence that allows those things to be?
We're so used to focusing on labels and forms.
Exactly. We get caught up in the chairness of the chair, the tableness of the table, and miss the underlying reality that allows those forms to exist. It's the ground of being, you might say, that we often overlook.
And Dr. Larijani pushes this even further, doesn't he?
He does. He challenges this idea of the world as just a collection of separate things by asking, is it truly a collection? Or is it one thing with these as its manifestations?
It's like we're so conditioned to see fragmentation, to categorize everything, that this notion of wholeness, of unity, is difficult to grasp.
Rumi consistently emphasizes this interconnectedness, this underlying unity, as the key to seeing the unseen. It's about recognizing that beneath the surface of appearances, there's a deeper reality that binds everything together.
It's like looking at a tapestry. We might focus on the individual threads, the different colors and textures, but it's the underlying pattern, the way they're woven together, that creates the complete picture.
Precisely. And Rumi's poetry helps us shift our perspective to see the tapestry as a whole, not just the individual threads.
This makes me think of a line from Rumi's poetry that seems so relevant here.
Please, share it.
The center of manifestation, due to its manifestation, is not visible to the eye.
A profound statement, isn't it? The very act of revealing something can actually obscure its true essence. It's like the sun.
Ah, the sun analogy. We see the world illuminated by sunlight, but rarely do we see the sunlight itself. It's too bright, too pervasive.
And yet without it, there would be no light, no life. Similarly, there's this underlying reality, this essence that allows everything to manifest, but often remains hidden from our ordinary perception.
So how do we begin to shift our perception? How do we train ourselves to see beyond those surface appearances and perceive this deeper unity?
Rumi points us toward a path of inner exploration. Just as the physical world has layers, so too does our inner world. And exploring those inner layers, our thoughts, emotions, beliefs, is the key to unlocking a deeper understanding of reality.
So instead of looking outward, we turn our attention inward. It's a journey of self-discovery.
Precisely. A journey into the hidden dimensions of our being, where we discover the interconnectedness that resides within.
What exactly are we seeking to discover on this journey? What are the fruits of this exploration?
Rumi uses so many images to describe those fruits: awareness, wisdom, connection. But I think it boils down to discovering our true nature. It's about transformation, not just knowledge. It's about shedding those layers of conditioning that obscure our essence.
Like an onion, maybe, peeling back the layers to reveal the core.
That's it. It's a process of unveiling, of stripping away those layers to reveal the truth that's always been present within, just hidden beneath our limited perceptions.
It all sounds incredibly profound. But let's be realistic. This journey isn't always smooth sailing.
Of course not. There are obstacles, distractions that make it difficult to stay on this path of inner exploration.
Like what specifically?
Rumi specifically identifies 3 major obstacles that we all face: fame, desire, and wealth.
It's interesting that he chose those 3. I can definitely see how the pursuit of fame, the constant desire for more, and the drive for wealth can completely consume us.
They become fixations that pull us away from the inner work of self-discovery, these powerful forces in our lives that can easily lead us astray.
Like sirens luring sailors off course.
Precisely. And it's not that these things are inherently bad, it's that they can so easily become distractions, obscuring our vision and pulling us away from what truly fulfills us.
We get caught in the chase, thinking those external things hold the key to happiness, and forget to cultivate the true source of joy within.
And that's why Rumi emphasizes the importance of cultivating the intellect. Not just book smarts, but a deeper understanding, a radiant awareness that lets us see through these illusions.
A wisdom that helps us discern between what's truly important and what's just fleeting and superficial.
Yes. Dr. Larijani beautifully captures this when he says, "The only light you have is the light of intellect."
So we need to awaken this light of intellect within us.
It's not about acquiring something new. This light is already within us. It's about recognizing its presence, refining it, letting it guide us.
Like a compass pointing us toward true north.
Exactly. And with that compass, we can navigate through the obstacles and distractions and stay on course toward the unseen. You know, as we explore this idea of seeing the unseen further, it's intriguing how Rumi uses the image of a veil to represent the separation between our normal perception and this deeper reality.
A veil. What's hidden behind this veil?
The veil in Rumi's poetry is like, it's like the illusions that stop us from seeing what's really true. These illusions are, well, woven from our attachments, our preconceptions, those limiting ways we think.
So it's not something outside of us, but something we kind of create ourselves.
Exactly. It's like born from our habits of how we see things, that tendency to just get caught up in how things look on the surface.
So then how do we begin to lift this veil?
Yeah.
How do we begin to see past those illusions that keep the unseen hidden from us?
Rumi suggests that the journey to lifting the veil starts by turning inward.
Inward.
Dr. Dinani touches on this, when he talks about exploring those layers inside ourselves. It's like there's this whole universe inside each of us just waiting to be discovered.
Like we're on an inner archaeological dig, like excavating the hidden treasures of our own being.
That's a fantastic way to describe it. And as we dig deeper into these layers, we start to see, that interconnectedness, that unity that Rumi always talks about.
Like those Russian nesting dolls. You open one, and there's another, and finally you reach that innermost doll.
And at the very heart of it all, we discover the source of that bright awareness, that light of intellect that Dr. Larijani talked about.
But just like in archaeology, there are always going to be obstacles, those challenges along the way. We were talking before about those 3 challenges that Dr. Dinani and Dr. Larijani mentioned: fame, desire, wealth.
Yes. Those are like the forces that can keep us stuck at the surface. Those forces can prevent us from going deep into those deeper layers of our being.
So they're woven into the fabric of that veil, keeping it in place.
Precisely. Those dazzling distractions keep our attention focused outward so we can't, turn inward and begin that self-discovery.
So how can we overcome these? How can we stop them from keeping us from seeing the unseen?
Rumi suggests that the light of intellect is our most powerful tool. But remember, it's not just about knowledge, it's about cultivating a deeper understanding, a wisdom that helps us see through the illusions these obstacles create.
So we need to develop a discerning eye. See past the glitter and realize true fulfillment comes from somewhere else.
Exactly. Consider fame. It promises happiness and recognition, but it's so fleeting and can leave you feeling empty.
It's like you said before, chasing a shadow.
Mm-hmm.
It always seems just out of reach.
And then there's desire, that constant wanting more, that feeling that we'll be happy once we have that one more thing. Maybe it's a possession, a relationship, some achievement.
It's like that treadmill you never get off of. You just keep running and running.
Exactly. And wealth can be just as tricky. We convince ourselves that if we only had enough money, our problems would vanish and we could finally chase our dreams.
But we know that people with lots of money are often just as unhappy and unfulfilled.
Rumi is reminding us that true happiness and fulfillment are not found chasing after those external things. Real wealth is inside, in those inner qualities, love, compassion, wisdom, gratitude, those qualities that let us see the unseen and experience that interconnectedness.
So it's about changing focus, right? From the material to the spiritual, from what fades away to what's eternal.
And making that change takes effort, it takes intention, and a willingness to face those obstacles that keep us on the surface level.
It's almost like we need to be spiritual warriors to face those inner demons that are stopping us from seeing the truth.
A great analogy. And as we discussed before, love is our most powerful weapon.
I think we are talking about a different type of love than we usually think of. Not just the love between people who are romantic or in families.
Rumi's love is, well, bigger. He's talking about a love that goes beyond all boundaries, a love that embraces every being, a love that's rooted in recognizing our shared divinity.
That's a beautiful way to think about it, but how do we cultivate this kind of love in our lives? It seems like a really abstract idea.
Well, Rumi suggests that self-love is where it starts. Dr. Dinani emphasizes knowing ourselves, exploring those inner layers, and I think that self-knowledge is the foundation for true love.
It's like we have to get to know our own hearts and minds before we can truly love ourselves, and then we can love others.
Exactly. When we see our own worth, our own beauty, our connection to something divine, then that love just starts to flow outward.
Like a spring that, once it's been tapped into, never stops flowing.
And that love, as Rumi says, is the key to lifting the veil and seeing the unseen.
It's about seeing with our hearts, not just our eyes.
Exactly. It's developing a way of seeing that's based in compassion, in kindness, and in understanding our inner connection.
And this leads us back to the idea of beauty, which we talked about earlier. How does beauty help us lift the veil and see the unseen?
Rumi doesn't see beauty as just about looks. It's an expression of something divine. Dr. Lorijani said something beautiful about this, talking about the world as a manifestation of one, unified reality. Beauty helps us to see that unity, that interconnectedness that connects everything that seems so different.
It's like when you're, mesmerized by a sunset or moved by music and you feel connected to something much larger than yourself.
Yes, those are glimpses of the unseen. Those are the times the veil lifts for a second and we see the world as one whole thing.
But how do we get better at seeing beauty? At having those moments of awe and connection more often?
It begins with paying attention. Dr. Dinani wants us to slow down, to savor simple things, and truly see the beauty all around.
It's almost like we need to retrain our eyes to appreciate the beauty hidden right in front of us.
Exactly. We shift our focus from all the mental chatter to the direct experience of our senses.
So instead of rushing through the day, lost in thought, we make the choice to be present, to notice the colors, sounds, textures, the smells that make up our world.
Yes, and as we do that, as we get better at this mindful awareness, we start seeing things differently. What was ordinary becomes special. The mundane becomes magical. We start to see the beauty that was always there, but our minds were too busy to see.
It's like putting on a brand new pair of glasses after wearing a blurry old pair for a long time. You suddenly see the world in high definition.
That's a great way to think about it. And as we do that, as we cultivate this clearer perception, we start seeing the interconnectedness, the unity Rumi talks about. We realize we're not separate from everything around us, but actually a part of it.
And realizing that changing how we see things can be a huge change, can't it? It changes how we relate to ourselves, to other people, to the whole world.
Absolutely. It creates a feeling of belonging, of compassion, of responsibility for everyone's well-being.
This has been such a beautiful look into Rumi's wisdom. And yet, we've only just started to explore it. Is there a last thought you'd like to leave our listeners with as we wrap up this part?
I think the most important thing is to remember that seeing the unseen is a lifelong journey. It's not about reaching a final destination, but about continuously refining how we see things, deepening our love, and growing our capacity for beauty.
So it's not about arriving. It's about the journey itself, this constant unfolding, the deepening of our connection to ourselves, each other, and, well, to something divine.
Beautifully put. As we continue on this journey, may Rumi's words continue to inspire us, guide us, and light our way.
That image, close your eyes, fall in love, stay there. It's like a guiding principle for this journey of seeing the unseen, right? Reminds us that it's not just about using our minds, but also about experiencing it with our hearts.
Exactly. It speaks to the transformative power of love and how important it is to have a receptive and open heart.
It makes me think, though, about how we actually stay there. Life is full of distractions and challenges, those moments that kind of pull us away from that feeling of love and connection. So how do we stay connected to that unseen aspect in the middle of all the ups and downs of everyday life?
Well, Dr. Dinani shares a beautiful analogy in one of our source conversations. He says, imagine holding a glass of water. If your hand is completely still, the water stays clear, right? But if your hand shakes even a tiny bit, the water gets cloudy. He goes on to explain that the glass of water, that's like our hearts. And the stillness of the water, that's like that state of love and connection.
So all those distractions and challenges we face in life, those are like tremors that shake the glass and, disrupt our inner peace and make it hard to see clearly.
Exactly. And Dr. Larijani adds to this by emphasizing how important it is to cultivate what he calls um, the eye of the heart.
The eye of the heart.
He says that this inner eye, unlike our physical eyes, can see beyond just how things look. It sees through illusions and perceives the real nature of reality.
So it's like we have these two ways of seeing with our physical eyes and with this eye of the heart. And it's the inner eye that helps us see the unseen, right? The beauty and interconnectedness that Rumi talks about.
Precisely. And the more we develop this inner eye, the less we're, affected by all those external distractions that can cloud our perception. We become more rooted in that feeling of love and connection, no matter what challenges life throws our way.
But how do we strengthen that eye of the heart? Are there specific things we can do to cultivate this deeper way of seeing?
Rumi says one of the most powerful practices is to just pay attention, to really become present in this moment. Dr. Dhanani encourages us to slow down, enjoy the simple things, to really appreciate the beauty around us.
It's like we need to be more aware of how rich our experience actually is, to soak it all in.
Yes, it's about shifting our attention from all that mental chatter to actually experiencing things with our senses.
So instead of, just rushing through the day lost in our thoughts, we consciously choose to be present, to notice the colors, the sounds, the textures, even the smells, all the things that make up our world.
That's right. And as we do that, as we practice this mindfulness, we begin to see things in a new light. The ordinary becomes extraordinary. The mundane becomes, well, almost magical. We start to see the beauty that's always been there, but we were too distracted to notice.
It's like, taking off a pair of old glasses that were all blurry and putting on a brand new pair. Suddenly the whole world is in high definition.
A perfect analogy. And as we do that, as we cultivate this clarity, we start to see that interconnectedness, that unity that Rumi emphasizes. We realize that we're not separate from the world, but a part of it.
And that realization, that shift in how we see things can be so powerful, can't it? It changes how we see ourselves, other people, everything.
Absolutely. It creates a sense of belonging, of compassion, of responsibility for the well-being of, well, everyone and everything.
This has been such a beautiful exploration of Rumi's wisdom, and yet it feels like we've only just begun to touch on its depth. Do you have any final thoughts, anything you'd like to share with our listeners as we wrap up this deep dive?
I think the key takeaway is this. Seeing the unseen is a lifelong journey, It's not about reaching some endpoint, but about constantly getting better at how we see things, deepening our capacity for love, and expanding our appreciation of beauty.
So it's not the destination, but the journey itself that matters. The unfolding, the deepening of our connection to ourselves, to each other, and to the divine.
Beautifully said. May Rumi's words continue to inspire us and guide us on this path.
To everyone listening, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the profound wisdom of Rumi. We hope these insights resonate with you and inspire you to experience the world with a renewed sense of wonder and connection.
May your hearts be filled with light, your minds with clarity, and your lives with the radiant beauty of the unseen. Until next time.